long before the marble columns and crowded forums, before the legions marched and the emperors ruled, the land that would become Rome was wild and untamed. The Tiber River wound its way through green valleys and low hills, its waters sparkling in the sunlight. Herds of cattle grazed on the slopes, and the air was filled with the songs of birds and the scent of wildflowers. It was a place of promise, waiting for a story to begin. The story of Rome's founding is woven from both legend and history, a tapestry of gods and mortals, of fate and choice. It begins in the shadow of Troy, the great city that fell to the Greeks after 10 long years of war. Among the survivors was a prince named Aeneas, who carried his father on his back and led his people across the sea in search of a new home. After many trials, Aeneas reached the shores of Italy, where his descendants would one day shape the world. Generations passed, and the blood of Aeneas flowed through the veins of kings and shepherds alike. In the ancient city of Alba Longa, ruled by King Numitor, the seeds of Rome's story were sown. But Alba Longa was a place of intrigue and ambition, and Numitor's brother, Amulius, coveted the throne. With cold determination, Amulius seized power, banishing Numitor and forcing his niece, Rhea Silvia, to become a Vestal virgin, sworn to chastity, forbidden to bear children. But fate cannot be denied. One night, as the moon rose over the hills, the god Mars visited Rhea Silvia in a dream. In time, she gave birth to twin boys, Romulus and Remus. Amulius, fearing the prophecy that the twins would one day overthrow him, ordered them cast into the Tiber River. The basket holding the infants drifted downstream, carried by the current, and watched over by the gods. The river, gentle and merciful, left the basket on the muddy banks beneath the Palatine Hill. There, a she-wolf, drawn by the cries of the hungry children, found them. With a mother's tenderness, she nursed the twins, her warm body shielding them from the cold. A woodpecker, sacred to Mars, brought them food. For days, the wolf cared for the boys, until a shepherd named Faustulus discovered them and carried them home to his wife, Acca Larentia. Romulus and Remus grew strong and bold, their childhood filled with the freedom of the hills and the lessons of the wild. They learned to hunt and fight, to read the signs of the land and the moods of the river. The brothers were inseparable, their bond forged in hardship and adventure. They led bands of shepherds, defended their flocks from thieves, and became known for their courage and sense of justice. As young men, Romulus and Remus learned the truth of their birth. With the help of their grandfather, Numitor, they overthrew Amulius and restored Numitor to the throne of Alba Longa. But the twins were restless. The hills where they had been saved called to them, and they dreamed of building a city of their own, a place where destiny and freedom would meet. In the spring of the year 753 before Christ, Romulus and Remus returned to the banks of the Tiber. The land was rich and green, the 7 hills rising above the river like ancient guardians. The brothers chose the Palatine Hill as the heart of their new city, but even here, fate demanded a price. A quarrel broke out between the twins. Some say it was over the site of the city, others that it was a sign from the gods. To settle the dispute, they agreed to seek an omen. Remus climbed the Aventine Hill, Romulus the Palatine. As the sun rose, Remus saw 6 vultures circling above him, a sign of favor. But soon after, Romulus saw 12 vultures and claimed the gods had chosen him. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that bring history's greatest mysteries to life. The quarrel turned bitter. In a moment of anger and pride, Romulus struck Remus down. The loss was heavy, and the city's first stone was laid in sorrow as well as hope. Romulus, alone now, marked the boundaries of his city with a plow, drawing a sacred furrow around the Palatine. He welcomed shepherds, outcasts, and wanderers, offering them a place in his new home. The city grew, its walls rising from the earth, its people bound by a sense of purpose and belonging. Romulus became the first king of Rome, ruling with wisdom and strength. He established laws, called the Senate to advise him, and led his people in war and peace. The city flourished, its markets filled with goods from distant lands, its streets alive with the sounds of laughter and song. But Rome was still young, and its future uncertain. To ensure the city's growth, Romulus invited neighboring peoples to join the Romans. He held a great festival, the Consualia, and invited the Sabines, a powerful tribe from the hills. During the celebrations, the Romans seized the Sabine women, hoping to secure wives and families for their new city. The act led to war, but in time, the Sabines and Romans made peace, joining their peoples and laying the foundation for a city built on unity as well as strength. The years passed, and Rome grew. The city's walls expanded, its temples rose, and its people prospered. Romulus ruled for many years, his legend growing with each victory and each act of justice. When his time came, it was said that Romulus was taken up to the heavens in a chariot of fire, becoming the god Quirinus, protector of Rome. The story of Rome's founding is a tale of courage and loss, of hope and ambition. It is a story of brothers and kings, of gods and mortals, of a city born from the river and the wild. The truth of the legend may be lost to time, but its spirit endures in the stones of the city, in the hearts of its people, and in the stories told across the centuries. Rome would go on to shape the world, its legions marching across continents, its laws and language spreading to distant lands. But at its heart, Rome remained a city of dreamers and survivors, of those who dared to build something new from the ashes of the past. So, the next time you walk among ancient ruins or gaze at the Tiber's gentle flow, remember the story of Romulus and Remus. Remember the she-wolf and the shepherd, the hills and the river, the city that rose from legend to become the heart of an empire. Remember that history is not just a record of dates and battles, but a living story, one that belongs to all who dream of building something that will last. If you enjoyed this journey into the birth of one of history's greatest cities, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. There are more stories waiting to be told right here.